Greetings, challengers. Another day, another challenge. Today, I want to talk a little bit about perspective. Now, we all have a perspective, and what I want to say about perspectives is that every perspective in this world is incomplete. My perspective is incomplete. Your perspective is incomplete. All of our perspectives put together even are not a complete perspective. No matter what we do, we cannot have a full grasp on everything that is happening around us. So in some sense, your perspective is always going to be wrong, incorrect, flawed in some way or another. And the point that I would like to make off of that is, why are you worrying? We all have things in our daily life that stress us out, that are really getting under our skin. We have things that are really hurting us. You know, I have issues still from the last serious relationship that I was in that I'm still having to deal with. You know, we all have things that from our perspective seem earth-shattering and they seem damaging. But if you take that perspective that we have and zoom out from it and take a look at the world that's around us, it can do wonders for us as far as, first of all, breaking us out of stress patterns. Now, stress patterns are things where we tend to pick up unhealthy habits that actually contribute to us being stressed in the long run. Someone might pick up unhealthy eating habits in order to deal with their stress, and as a result, they either gain weight or they lose weight to the point where their body chemistry is off. They don't like the way they look anymore, which then compounds whatever issues they already had. Another thing that it does for us, other than breaking us out of these stress routines that we get into, is that it can remind us that it's okay to relax, which is something that we all need very desperately to do sometimes. It's really easy to get caught up in your own little world. And by that, I don't mean that your world is insignificant. In the big picture, you could say that it's insignificant, but that doesn't mean that your point of view, your feelings are invalid. But what it does say is that by getting the fuller view of things, it can really help us to take a step back, look at our problems from a more complete perspective than we have just on our own, and be able to assess things in a way that helps us really categorize our feelings and deal with them in a way that's more helpful, in a way that's more controlled, and helps us to categorize things in such a way that they can be properly dealt with. There are a couple of great ways to be able to expand your perspective. The first example that I can think of is the first thing that really expanded my perspective. When I was just 18, I had just graduated high school, I had this great new group of friends. We were all talking about life, the universe, and everything, and it was a wonderful experience for me. It was the first time that I really felt like I had personal freedom. You know, I hadn't had a car up until this point, but I had enough friends that someone would be able to drive me to the lake that night, where we would all go and hang out and spend time, and that was where we did all of our deep talking and all of our good conversation. And it was on the rowing docks at night that I would look up at the stars and first got a grasp of how small our universe, or how small our world is, particularly my sphere inside of this world, compared to the larger scope of the universe. You know, I realized how far away stars really are, or rather, I realized that I had no idea, that these weren't just pinpricks on a high ceiling. These were massive objects that were so far away that they seemed to be insignificant. And all of the mind-bending concepts that come with that. There's light that is just now hitting me that before I was born was so far away that no living person has ever traveled that far in their entire lifetime, you know, just in the short time that I've been alive. And it really boggles the mind. So that's one way. just stepping out and looking at the stars was one way. Another way is to look at a situation that breaks you out of your norm. The best example I can think of there was actually not too long after that. It was in my first year of college, and I had grown up with a sister, and later we had two other siblings introduced to the family, my stepbrother and my stepsister, and unfortunately for us that year, we lost my stepsister. This is a picture of her with her father. She was just in her 20s. I'm about as old as she was when we lost her, and it was a very, very sad affair for the whole family. And the perspective that really lent me is that the fact that I am alive, the fact that my heart is beating, the fact that such a complex being has gone on living for 25 years now is almost miraculous in some respect, that I was able to be formed in the first place and have lived long enough, have survived disease, hunger, thirst, time spent on the highway, going in excess of 70, 80 miles an hour sometimes, and I'm still alive right now. And the fact that is true is something to be thankful for, and it really helps put my mind at peace. One other thing that can help give you a little bit of perspective, I don't find it quite as enriching, but it's still just as helpful in different ways, is to become aware of your mortality in a whole new sense. There was something that I saw on a Stumble Upon article, which if I can find it someday, I'll include it in the description. If not, you're just going to have to deal with it. But it was something that was called like skull awareness, where you would literally just do this, and just being able to see the shape of your teeth would make you more aware of what the shape of your skull was like inside of your head. It made you more aware of your, the nuts and bolts of your body. You saw that you had a skull. I once had an X-ray that showed me my brain. It's these little things that remind you how fragile of a creature you are, or how sturdy of a creature you are, if you want to think about it that way. A skull is a very hard structure. The fact that it's developed, the fact that we have such a hard structure protecting the most valuable thinking tool in the entire world is kind of a relief sometimes. So the challenge for today is to find your own way to stretch your perspective. Find something that changes your way of thinking, even if it's only for a moment. If you can step outside and look at the stars, if you can find a picture on the internet that's a high-definition picture of all the lights in, the entire northern hemisphere at night, so you see these massive cities splayed out across this tiny little continent, something that breaks you out of your norm. So that's my challenge for today. Again, it's your challenge, your choice. The bigger of a perspective leap you can make, the better I think it can be for you, and the more that I think it has the potential to help de-stress you, to help you get a handle on the problems that you have in your immediate vicinity, and help you to see that they're not something that is going to threaten all of existence. It maybe just threatens your comfort zones or threatens your emotional stability, which, again, is a perfectly valid thing to be upset about, but in the long run, maybe isn't as big of a deal as you originally thought. That's what I leave you with today. I hope you got something out of this. I hope you get something out of whatever challenge you choose to take from this, and I wish you all a challenging day.